Welcome to the Wing Space podcast, a place to take up space, a space for you to settle in, sit back, relax, and focus a little bit on health, wellness, faith, family, and this crazy thing called life.
This podcast is not a replacement for mental health treatment or professional health care. In case of crisis or emergency, please contact your local healthcare provider or dial 911.
Hey there, and welcome to the Wing Space podcast. I am excited today to talk to certified nutrition specialist Tracy Pritchard as we talk about eating through the winter blues. But first, stay tuned for just a quick message about our upcoming services.
Prepare and Enrich is a service that we'll be offering to premarital couples. It is a strength-based program that utilizes assessment portion and then subsequent sessions to look at that assessment and discuss what are your strengths, what are the areas of growth, what are conversations that you'd like to have as you are leading up to and preparing for marriage. One of the nice things about Prepare and Enrich is that it covers not only a wide variety of areas, but it can be utilized with couples that are in different stages of life as well. So maybe this is your first marriage. Maybe it is a blending of families that come into play when you are preparing for this. So the idea is that we can support you in that process and support you in having conversations with your partner and planning ahead for success.
And if someone's interested in seeking out this service for themselves and their partner, how could they go about inquiring or scheduling an appointment?
Contact us at Hope and Healing. You can go to the website and send us your information and we'll get back with you, or you can give us a call and we'll get you scheduled. There's more than one option when it comes to utilizing this program. This is a set group of sessions. So you will either be choosing to engage in 4 sessions or 8 sessions, depending on what your needs are, what your interests are, and what works for you. The assessment is part of both of those, the skill building, the recognizing our growth areas and working on those are included in both of those sets. So you will get that experience, but just the timing of it might look different depending on your needs.
Yes, so you can give us a call at 301-690-8404, extension 0. You can also visit our website, like Kristen mentioned, at hopehealingtherapy.com.
Welcome back to the Wing Space podcast, a place to take up space. I am excited to talk with certified nutrition specialist Tracy Pritchard, a new member of our team here at Hope and Healing. And if you've been listening to the podcast or following along with our blogs, you've seen some content on our social media about winter blues and seasonal affective disorder and kind of that slump that we all sometimes feel this time of year when sunshine is less and the weather is cold. So we're going to just talk about, in addition to some of the things you may have already heard with regards to more mental health related things, we're going to talk about how we can use nutrition and our meals in order to help supplement that. So, Tracy, I'm excited to have you here today. Would you mind just maybe briefly introducing yourself to our listeners?
Sure, I'd love to. So thanks for having me today. I have a Master's of Science in Human Nutrition and board certified nutrition specialist licensed to practice clinically in Maryland. My philosophy is really a good, better, best of, where are we at now? What can we do a little bit better? And make small, sustainable, lasting changes to improve our health and wellness.
Yeah, that's great. And really stays on the mindset of where we are here at Hope and Healing too. We don't want anyone to come in and expect that there's going to be this, huge change overnight and we're not going to ask them to, just flip their world upside down. We need to take those little baby steps and then celebrate those steps along the way. So
I will have to say that, right now as we're taping or doing this, it's mid-January and nutrition truly is my hobby. It's my career. Yet I'm overwhelmed with all of the social media and all of the do this, don't do that, and the diets that really are just not practical or sustainable for any of us.
Right. And it's interesting that we're in this winter blues time at the same period of the year where it's all of the new year, new me messaging, and everyone thinks that they have to do something bigger and grander and better. And it's very overwhelming to think of making so many changes at one time. And research tells us that it doesn't last. So, talking about little tweaks and little changes, small substitutions, I think is where we're probably going to head today in our conversation about assessing where we are now and then working towards, I love that good, better, best idea.
And that's going to look a little bit different for everybody. So I suspect that of the different tips we talk about today, from everybody listening, they'll take a little something different away.
Absolutely. And I've heard from other listeners before that sometimes they listen to the podcast more than once and they grab a little something each time. So don't be afraid to listen to it again and see what else you can grab. So maybe you can explain for us the impact, the role, the part that nutrition plays in mood and where folks are right now in this winter blues kind of dreary blah time of year.
Sure. Well, we know that, the common term we hear is, food is fuel, and that's true because we need energy. And energy can come from natural, healthy foods, and it can come from processed food. So what type of energy do we want to be putting in our body? But also, food is more than just fuel. Food is information, and it really just tells our body and our brain, how to feel. It turns genes on and off. So the proper nutrition, the proper hydration, along with the lifestyle factors can really make an impact. And it doesn't have to be an all or nothing. It's those small, sustainable changes that are going to make a difference.
So before we dive into the meat, so to speak, no pun intended, of the conversation today, if somebody is listening to this right now and they're thinking, I don't even know where to start, where's the baby step that somebody can start with?
If I had to pick one thing, it would probably be hydration. What are you drinking? What are you and what are you not drinking? Are you drinking a lot of sugar sweetened beverages? Are you drinking a lot of caffeine? Are you drinking water? If you're not, that dehydration can absolutely make you have low energy, low mood, maybe even be causing headaches, and you're not sure why you're having these headaches. And it could also be something else, something as simple as, are you drinking enough water?
Absolutely. And it's an easy enough thing that most people don't need, their doctor's permission to drink more water. So what about for the person that says, I don't like water?
Well, I hear that a lot. There's different things you can do. Herbal teas count towards your water intake. Play around with water. Some people say they really like room temperature water. Some people love iced water. You can put fresh lemons or limes or things like that in your water. Some people like to infuse it with strawberries or other fruits like that. For some people, it matters on what they're actually drinking out of, having something that they can measure or having just a new mug or a new cup. I hear right now there's some trends in all the different tumblers that people like. So that honestly can make all the difference. If you have a cup that you don't like drinking out of or doesn't fit either in your cup holder in your car or that you can't put in the dishwasher, maybe it's something that you stop using. It has to be something that you like to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, and some people, their water doesn't taste good because of stuff that's in it, whether it's, poorly filtered or something like that. So that's a whole nother topic, but certainly find good ways to get good tasting water.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I actually do use a water filtration system. It's not something that everybody has to do, but we've kind of become particular about our water. And the reason I did that is because there's so many other nutrition topics that, you hear one food, someone says it's good, someone says it's bad, vice versa. But for most of us, we could all stand to drink more water consistently. Mm-hmm. So many years ago, we invested in a countertop water filtration system, and it really encourages everyone to drink more water because we see it.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so first baby step is drink more water.
Drink more water.
Yeah. What's the next step? What do you think? Where do we go in terms of making healthy choices or starting to tweak just a little in order to not feel so gloomy this time of year?
Well, that's a good question. First I'd have to say, where are you at now? And some people aren't really sure. They haven't really even considered it. So perhaps, 24 hours or for 3 days, just journaling what you do on an average day. And most people can look at that and say, oh, wow, I didn't eat any fruits or vegetables for 3 days. that's something I could improve on. Or, gosh, I don't even eat meals, I just eat snacks. So the question is, what are you doing now? And what's something that you're willing to consider changing a little bit? A lot of people know what they, quote, should do. But the question is, what are we willing to do and what's practical, right? So if we're down in low mood, it's really not practical to think we're going to start making Pinterest recipes every day.
Right.
So that's going to last for a day or two, and then that's it.
And then you're going to feel shame and guilt about not following through with that big, hefty goal that you set for yourself. Right. Looking at where you are now, kind of seeing what you're eating, of course, is going to be different for everyone. If it's a person who kind of has a unbalanced diet, we'll say, where do they start? I mean, I've certainly talked with people that, breakfast and lunch are fast food, gas station type meals, and dinner is, a frozen something or other. Where might someone on that spectrum start compared to someone who maybe generally eats pretty healthy, but still thinks that there's some room to grow to just boost them a little bit?
So for the first person that you mentioned with the fast food, perhaps it's looking at, are there better choices even where they're going? It's interesting that you said the gas station, because I have done a tour of some of our gas stations, and there's actually better choices in there. You can find things like hard-boiled eggs and fresh fruits and vegetables. It doesn't have to just be, the typical fast food type of thing. So even within the current thing, and then what's going to happen is someone might say, well, I'm tired of paying that much money at the gas station for those things. I'll just get that at the grocery store next time.
Right.
But that would be a small shift. And if at the gas station, that's where we're getting those sugar sweetened beverages and dumping a bunch of things in the coffees and things like that, we can shift that to better choices as well. And as far as cooking at home, or maybe making one of those meals at home, it can be simple. Perhaps it's something like grabbing a rotisserie chicken at the grocery store with some frozen vegetables that can go in the microwave. I mean, now you have a lean protein and you have some vegetables. That's a start. If you like something sweet, an apple, a banana, those whole foods, things that have single ingredients.
You mentioned the making the healthier choices at the gas stations. As we talked about tracking food, it's probably also an okay idea. And, if any of these, the folks that are listening today have ever, worked with me professionally, they know that we track mood and what's impacting that. So maybe they would consider, these 3 days I had, some sugary drinks or sugary coffee and some donuts and a, sausage biscuit. And I felt hungry, I was tired, I was moody, but then for the next 3 days, I grabbed, some fruit and some hard-boiled eggs, and I had more energy and I wasn't as irritable. Paying attention to how our body reacts to those foods, in addition to just paying attention to what you're eating, but how do you feel after you're eating those foods?
Well, I kind of have to laugh a little because we do that type of journal, but we actually have it as a food mood poop journal.
Ooh,
because, when you change from ultra processed foods to whole foods with more fiber, typically things are going to go a lot better. And digestion matters. That affects your mood as well. And even taking it back to the initial first thing with the hydration, you start drinking a little more water, you're adding a piece of fruit in each day, you will see that things are getting better. You may even notice, someone may even say, oh, my mood was better, but it's because I was sleeping better. And then you take it back to, well, do you think that had something to do with all that as well?
Right. And so many people think that, since we're on the topic of poo, that the more, if they're going more or if it's different, that it's a problem. And really if you're increasing hydration, you're increasing fiber, you're potentially just increasing your body's ability to get rid of the waste. And that's not necessarily digestive upset as much as it is the normal course of digestion. So
correct. And there's going to be some changes anytime you change your diet in one way or another. It's going to take a little bit of time for things to settle and just get into a rhythm. But it's just something to pay attention to for sure.
Okay. So starting with hydration, kind of comparing where you are now, maybe even considering what little steps you can make. What about if we're looking at just tweaks that need to be made, not a complete overhaul? When we're looking at how to change out proteins or choices in fruits or vegetables or things like that. What are some thoughts you have with those easy swaps that can be made that might seem easy, but folks might need to have a little buy-in to it?
Sure. Well, instead of talking about the foods we shouldn't have, it's always fun to think about what can we add to a meal. So, if you're still buying the same frozen chicken nuggets or you're getting those at a drive-through, well, instead of getting the fries, could you get the salad or could you get the fruit cup? So that I would say would be a tweak. If we're not getting 5 to 8 servings at least of fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds a day, can you swap out your mid-afternoon chips or pretzels or crackers for something fresh, for fruits or vegetables or something like that? So those would be very easy things to tweak. Another thing that I find people are willing to try is to swap out condiments. So that requires label reading. So you want to look on the back, and if there's a long list of ingredients that at this point I'd have to put my reading glasses on to see, and words that I can't pronounce, it's probably things I shouldn't be consuming. And or look at the added sugars. Keep in mind, for every 4 grams of added sugar, it's a teaspoon of sugar. So if you look at something like barbecue sauce that you love, if you say, well, I'll eat boiled or baked chicken, but I love me some barbecue sauce, that's fine. Find the best version of it. Assuming you don't want to make it yourself, because that's some work. Just look at the labels in the store and find the one with the least amount of added sugar that doesn't have artificial sweeteners or chemicals in it. And there are brands that are known to just be better. So swapping out your sauces, your seasonings, instead of buying, taco seasoning in a packet, you can use your own chili powder and cumin and paprika and make that yourself without all those additives and preservatives. So I often tell people, pick your most favorite condiment, whether it's a salad dressing, a ketchup, and find the best version of it and just enjoy the heck out of it.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that there's probably some folks listening thinking, what does my choice of barbecue sauce have to do with my mood? And how are these choices going to help me to feel better when it's dark earlier, it's cold, and it's gloomy?
Sure. So a typical barbecue sauce on the market, the first ingredient is going to be high fructose corn syrup because it's cheap for them to make. The first ingredient should be tomatoes in barbecue sauce. But 2 tablespoons is going to have approximately 16 grams of added sugar. That's 4 teaspoons of sugar. Sugar is typically just empty calories. Nobody eats usually just 2 tablespoons either. So what's going to happen is after you have that on your chicken, you're thinking, oh, look, I ate a healthy meal. But in fact, you just turned your chicken into a dessert. And you're going to have a blood sugar crash that might make you irritable or crave more sugar. So now dinner's over, and now you're looking for more sugary things to kind of ramp your mood back up again.
Yeah, so all of the choices, whether it's barbecue sauce or, that snack in the middle of the day, is going to have that same similar kind of impact on your mood. And essentially, you're just chasing the good mood with maybe not the best food choices.
That's right. And, too often I see people go on these fad and trendy diets where they cut out all sugar, and then they're even lumping, fruits in that and complex carbohydrates like sweet potatoes and saying I'm low carb, no carb. Your body does need some fuel to operate and some carbohydrates, but it's a matter of saying, well, how much am I having? And maybe not removing, but reducing, because too often people remove it for a day or two and they feel like they have the flu and they say, hey, forget about it. This is terrible. I have a headache. I'm sick. And again, it's all or nothing, where we can just aim to reduce those added sugars.
You just said something that gave me a little light bulb moment, and that is, it's typically, I think I've said this maybe 10 times already in this episode, it's typically around this time where people start to feel kind of the worst. The holidays are over, the Christmas lights are gone, the fun music, like it's just kind of January's just kind of blah. But we're also putting all of that messaging out there, and people are putting themselves through these huge health overhauls. So it's no wonder that people don't feel so great in January when they've just flipped their diet completely upside down. Their body doesn't know what the heck is happening, and they just don't feel good. So then they go back to what they were doing before, because, oh, this healthy eating, I don't feel any better. I may as well just eat what I was eating before. So what might you tell that person?
Well, I don't like the all or nothing. It's those small, sustainable changes where, okay, maybe this week maybe this month is focusing on hydration, like we talked about. And then within hydration, maybe adding some herbal teas that are therapeutic, with chamomile for relaxation, or the green tea that helps with our mood. And then maybe in February, or maybe next week, whenever it is, you say, you know what? Now I'm ready. I'm going to add a serving of fruit to my breakfast, or I'm going to add a serving of vegetables to my dinner, and just do that consistently. And you don't have to move to the next thing until you get that down.
We live in a society that wants quick fixes and fast results. And I even see it with mental health. You know, folks will come in and say, well, I've been coming here for so many months, and they don't see the progress that they've made until we break it down and look at what progress that, you know, I can clearly identify that they've made. And what I hear you saying is that pay attention to how you feel over the course of a week or 2 weeks when all you've done is increased your water. You're going to have improvements. Are you going to, you know, lose 20 pounds? No, but you're going to feel better, even if it's just a little bit. And then you add the next thing, whether it's that serving of fruits or vegetables, or switching out a fatty protein for a more lean protein, paying attention that over time is when those changes are going to make. I mean, unless you slice your arm, our body doesn't have major changes overnight. It's months and months and years of poor nutrition that causes those changes. And then it takes months and months to repair the body, and we want quick fixes.
Right. And I often tell people, like when I would see individual clients that came in and they'd say, well, I'm here to lose weight. And I'd say, well, let's talk about health. Like, what are your major health conditions, or what are you looking to do? And we would start small with those changes and build some confidence. And sometimes the weight, it doesn't come off as fast as people want. And they'll say, well, this isn't working. And I say, okay. But then in the same breath, they mention that they notice their skin has cleared up, their mood's better, they have more energy to exercise, they're sleeping better. So at some point, you know, our society has put the scale as a judge of our health, where in fact it's not.
Right.
It's a lot of those other things.
Yeah. People have an interesting relationship with the scale that's not always a healthy one. Since we've started doing this podcast, a lot of people say they listen to it while they're exercising or cleaning or driving and things like that. So there may be some other tricks and tips that we want to share with the listeners. But I just want to say that you can find some information on our website, hopehealingtherapy.com. If you're listening and don't have a chance to write any of these things down, there are some other things that you might be able to grab in terms of written information. So what might be another idea that someone could consider to help boost their mood, maybe a little bit more energy, and just overall feel better during this winter time?
Sure. So we know a lot of the healthy foods have different colors to them, whether they're berries or leafy greens, fruits and vegetables, is to eat the rainbow. You know, if you look at your plate and everything's really plain, how can you add color to it with a food that would rot? Again, a fruit or a vegetable. And that doesn't have to be fresh. It can be frozen. There's different ways to do that. And just adding something there. Some of the easiest things to do, I know when I'm tired, or as much as I don't mind cooking, frankly, it just gets exhausting to think of something new all the time, is perhaps a smoothie that has some protein in it, that has some berries or leafy greens. So a protein could be a protein powder. It could also be a low-fat, plain Greek yogurt, some type of nut butter, just to add something that's protein in there. And some fresh fruit or frozen fruit, a handful of leafy greens that pulverizes. It gives your body some nutrients. Likewise, salads. You can make a big salad at the beginning of the week and eat it all week. And the baby step might be buy a salad kit. Find a salad kit. If it comes with a dressing that probably, would have ingredients that you can't pronounce, use some good old olive oil and vinegar on it. And that would be a great start to just add something. And that is part of that Eat the Rainbow, because that gives you vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients and things that your body and your brain can use.
Yeah. I'm hearing folks in my own life that might say, well, this sounds really boring. So where do the treats come in? Where do the, things that people enjoy eating? Obviously, we don't want our chicken to be our dessert, but where do those kind of special little things come in?
Well, I love that question because I think our society has really convoluted or mixed up treats and snacks. Mm-hmm. A snack is something to get your body some more nutrients, to give you some fuel. There's certainly a place for treats, but everything has turned into, I need to treat myself, or it's my birthday, it's somebody else's birthday, it's some national food holiday, it's donut day, it's this, that, the other day. If there's a treat that you really like, just be very mindful about it. Consider portions. If you're someone who, once the box of crackers or cookies is open, that you eat the entire thing, perhaps buy the individual servings, and consider what you're having. Sit down, don't be shoveling it in while you're watching TV and saying, oh, look, I ate the whole box. Enjoy it, but have a plan for it. That being said, chocolate, I like chocolate. Dark chocolate's actually good for you, has some good properties. Mm-hmm. You might not want to eat it too late at night. Some people are sensitive to caffeine. If you're a milk chocolate junkie, maybe switch to the semi-sweet chocolates with a goal of eventually getting to those darker ones, the 70%, 80%, 90%. And you'll find that because they are darker, less sugar, they're more satisfying, and you don't feel like you just have to keep eating them like you would, say, a bowl of M&Ms that you pass by.
Yeah, and your taste buds will adapt to that. A number of years ago, I switched from peanut butter to natural peanut butter, and then from natural peanut butter, I went to almond butter, and I swapped out, maybe grabbed the wrong jar or something, and ate real peanut butter one time, and I took one bite and I couldn't eat it. It was too sweet. And whereas other people who aren't used to it might eat almond butter and say there's no flavor to it, or it's not sweet enough, or whatever. So if you are a milk chocolate person and you slowly get yourself to dark chocolate, then you're going to find that the milk chocolate's too sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
You won't want to eat as much, or you might not want to eat it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, with some of these, quote, treats is if you make it yourself at home, again, starting with good quality ingredients, single ingredients, you have to wait for it. Where if you have a box of cookies sitting there, you can essentially breathe in, inhale, and eat a bunch of them without even thinking about it. But when you're like, oh, I really would like a good chocolate chip cookie, and you get out the ingredients, you enjoy making it, you smell the cookies, that whole process has value.
Absolutely.
That's in the mindfulness realm of eating.
Yeah, absolutely. Which certainly is a whole nother probably podcast series of its own. Mm-hmm. We've hit a lot of topics today. We've touched on a lot of things that I think are really important, not just at this time of year, but throughout the year, regardless of the season of the year. When we're specifically talking about eating to beat the winter blues, what haven't we touched on yet that you want to make sure our listeners take away?
Well, I'd say from a nutritional perspective, I probably would want to mention omega-3 fatty acids. And you'd say, well, what is that? I've heard of fish oil. Is that what you mean? Well, maybe, but I'm thinking about the whole food sources, which would be fatty fish. Mm-hmm. We often give salmon all the credit, but there's actually an acronym called SMASH. Salmon, mackerel, anchovy, sardines, and herring. Adding those in, that gives you not only a lean source of protein, but added omega-3s, which are really good for your brain. Another way to add omega-3s in is things like flax seeds and chia seeds and walnuts, and that could be something that you sprinkle on cereal, oatmeal, put in smoothies, put on yogurt, and just adding those to your condiments and just using those a little more. So those omega-3s would be one area for people to consider adding more of those, and maybe doing a little research on their own for the why they want to do that. Yeah.
Making sure that you're optimizing your brain's ability to function while it's also struggling a little bit with some low mood and low energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great. Any other last minute takeaways for our listeners today?
Really just keep it simple. Whole foods are simple. Eggs are easy. Most people can cook up an egg in just a couple minutes. Most of us have friends who have chickens that they can get some eggs from. Fruit is the most portable, easy, fast food. something like a banana. It has potassium, it has fiber. If you don't want to eat a whole banana because you're still thinking, oh, it maybe has too much sugar, which again, it's a whole food, have half a banana and put some of that peanut butter on it, or have some nuts or seeds with it. Some of those walnuts that are high in omega-3s. At the store, give yourself a break. Buy the pre-cut veggies. If you don't want to cut veggies, don't. Just buy them already ready to go so you can just reach in and grab some.
Yeah, those are good ideas. In your blog, for anybody that wants to read about it, the end of it, you talk about James Clear's Atomic Habits, and I talk about that all the time on the podcast and with my clients. One of the quotes, that just a brief snippet of it, is all big things come from small beginnings. And one of my favorite all-time books is called The Midnight Library, and there's a saying in that book that repeats itself that says, never underestimate the big importance of small things. Mm-hmm. And those are two ideas that, same idea said two different ways, that I want our listeners to hear, that little tiny small changes will make huge impacts over time, and not to underestimate the little small banana.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for chatting with me today, Tracy. I really enjoyed our conversation. And listeners, if you have thoughts of your own ideas, feel free to reach out. You can always email me, Jennifer@hopehealingtherapy.com. You can send us a DM. And we look forward to some more conversations with Tracy about nutrition and adding that to our wellness services and the thoughts that we have with regards to overall health and wellness. So thanks for listening, and have a great day.